Hello, everybody. It's my privilege to introduce to you, all the way from the south side of Chicago, the man, the myth, the legend, my Theo, your brother, the Southside Unicorn.
And what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Hey, it's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we have been having some technical difficulties today, ladies and gentlemen, so we're just going to roll with the show as is. You know how I normally like to do it. I like to give the show a name and have a little fun with it. We're still going to have a lot of fun, but we're just going to get right down to it, shall we? Okay. For those of you who follow me, those of you who are good fans, thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. You see what's going on. Ever since my man Elon Musk decided that he wanted to let the birds out of the cage and buy Twitter, the fool's been acting a fool. I've been banned. I've been kicked off. I mean, one minute I'm back and the next minute I'm gone. You look up and they're like, you're on a 3-hour restriction. You're on a 10-hour restriction. You know, one was even 7 days. I went through 7 days and the restriction was lifted. And 10 minutes later, they come back with, you are blocked again. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to live with these cretins? This nation was never founded on the principle of anybody being able to silence your free speech just because they came up with a new toy. We had what was called the town square. Okay, all right, let's take this in its proper trajectory. We had the horse and buggy, and the horse and buggy had to give way to the rail. The rail gave way to the horseless carriage. Nobody walked up to anybody and said, because you believe a certain thing, because you look a certain way, because you support a certain candidate, you can't buy a car. You can't use this car named so-and-so or such and such because you believe a certain way. I'd like for you to think about this. What if Alexander Graham Bell told people when he invented the telephone, well, if you're a Democrat, you can't make phone calls. Sorry. Go find some other way to get it done because I invented this. This is my thing. I came up with this, and I don't like Democrats. So you can't use my telephone. You know, you better call Tyrone. See where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? You follow me. You know, once upon a time, we had a place called the Town Square. That's how cool and beautiful America is. We had a place where if you woke up on a Saturday morning, you know, a Saturday morning pretty much like this one. If you woke up on a Saturday morning and decided, well, I guess I want to go tell the people what's on my mind. I guess I want to tell them about these sharecroppers or about the, general store. I don't like the way they're doing it. Or maybe our local mayor. I just want to say something about the mayor. We, as decent Americans, we who understand the importance of free speech, would put a little square out there where you could say what you wanted. Now, the trick of it is that the people in the town, they might come and listen to your talk, homie, but they just might have some tomatoes in their hands. They might, now granted, if they tried to break out the Mohawk like homeboy did on Abraham Lincoln when he tried to do his speech, that's all wrong. Don't be using violence. Some people say free speech comes with consequence. Oh yeah, just try that on me. So back to that town square. We put that there so that anybody could say whatever they wanted to say. Well, just like the horse and buggy gave way to the horseless carriage, the town square used to be a wooden block. Well, now it's a square, a glass square. It is a computer. It is a cell phone. It is an app. That's still the town square. But somewhere in our raising of these young people, somewhere in there, the insipid, insidious, ridiculous, wicked Nazi, socialist, Marxist, some of my guns started conditioning our Zuckerbergs, started conditioning our Bill Gates. And these people grew up with a mindset set against the American principles and values. And so it only stands to reason that when they would invent something, well, now, here we go. With Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, those are town squares. But because these people made it, they won't let you play with it. Who raised these kids? Who raised these summer guns? Remember when we were growing up, we'd be in a sandbox with our brand new toy, and some of the other kids would kind of migrate over to you and try to play with your toy? Well, sometimes, not all the time, because some kids are just born beautiful in their hearts. But sometimes we'd be like, you can't play with my toy. No way. What did the adults do? What did the adults do? They would look at you and say, boy, girl, let them play with that toy. You better learn to what? You better learn to share. You better learn to be decent and kind-hearted. Where's the decency and kind-heartedness in stopping a person from expressing what comes through their mind, their hearts, and their souls? When you muzzle that, you have done a terrible, ugly thing. It's not a reflection on the person who wants to open their mouth. It's not a reflection on the person who's trying to use freedom of speech. No, my friend. All of that goes on the person who deigns to silence another person's ideas. Do I agree with everything I hear? You better bet I don't. There's some things I hear out there that just make me want to scream. Like, for example, we have a woman now who is what is she? She's the director of the disinformation department. Pardon me. She's now the director of the disinformation department. And now all these videos are circulating around about how absolutely bat doo-doo, uber crazy, cray-cray this woman is. This woman is mentally ill. And Joe Biden picked her to become the director of disinformation department. Now, see, that right there is where I'm taking issue, ladies and gentlemen. I know my brothers and sister influencers out there, they always say, keep it light, keep it pithy, keep it funny. Later for that. I'm telling you, I've been saying it now for almost a year. Later for that. Any of you out there ever seen a good horror movie? A really good one. I mean, where the monster is on fleek. It's a real one. Okay, The Thing. You remember The Thing? And they set it on fire and they chopped it up and they did all of that. But this beast, this alien monster would not die. It would not go away. I mean, they chopped homeboy's head off. For those of you who are aficionados of the old sci-fi, The Thing, they chopped homeboy's head off. And it grew legs and eyes came out of the neck and it became a new thing. That is what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. We're dealing with an intractable evil that just will remorph. It will rebuild itself. It will come back in so many different ways. Elon Musk just bought Twitter, didn't he? He just opened up the bird cage and let the birds fly free. Oh no, this beast, this Leviathan that we still try to consider fellow Americans, we still call them Democrats. They like to call themselves progressive Democrats. That is a Leviathan group, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll prove it to you. We just opened up the doors to freedom once again, but they won't have it. They won't hear it all. So what did they do? Joe Biden and his cabal, they opened up the Department of Disinformation. That's no different to me than a head rolling across the floor. And it becomes a new thing. Legs pop out where the ears used to be. Eyes come out of the neck. These creatures, this creature has tentacles. Let's say that Twitter was one of those tentacles. We chopped it off. We chopped it off to get back to freedom. And what did the Leviathan do? It grew a new tentacle and named it the Department of Disinformation. Now, some of you, because they don't teach y'all much in those schools anymore, you don't remember George Orwell and Isaac Asimov and all these guys in books like 1984, and Animal Farm. Perhaps you don't even know about those if you're below the age of 20, because nobody's teaching you these things. Well, in 1984, there was a government group called Big Brother. Do you know that in this book, in this sci-fi dystopian nightmare story, Big Brother was named the Department of Disinformation? How many times on this show have you heard me say, does life imitate art or does art imitate life? Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a real-life, real-time version of 1984. I'll say it again so that it drives the message to home. Elon Musk bought Twitter so that he would open up the gates of freedom, bring back the town square. And yet, within days of that purchase being verified, our own government, the United States government of America, opens up a department called the Department of Disinformation. Government-sponsored fact checkers. Now, I don't know if that lights a fire under you. Perhaps you have to be north of 50 for this to be as terrifying as it should be. There are those of you out there who don't see a problem with this, who absolutely agree with this. Let me tell you something. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something when we come back after these station breaks. We'll be right back after these messages. Go nowhere.
When I see a new broadcast from the Southside Unicorn, I can't wait to listen to it. You just never know what he's going to say.
Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design.
Hey, it's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are back for the second segment. And when we left off, I was telling you young people, those of you who seem to think that a Department of Disinformation funded by, empowered by, and run by the United States of America is a good thing. You got trouble coming, my friends. I know of no other way to explain that to you than I will using Kristallnacht. Kristallnacht was a time of the Holocaust, which we have commemorated this week, ironically. The Jewish people celebrating or not celebrating, but commemorating the Holocaust. Let me explain something to you young people. There was a guy named Adolf Hitler. Now, I know you've heard the name because your friends will use it so easily. Oh, he's just like Hitler. You're a Hitler. They do it all the time, but they don't give it the true importance of who this man is or was. He was monster. He was a Leviathan. He wanted to rule the world. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. How do you think all the horrors that they try to show you, even the ones, sadly, that are happening in the Ukraine, even as we speak, how do you think those horrors begin? They don't just pop up one day. You don't just look in the sky and go, oh, there it is, the worst thing you could possibly imagine, the Holocaust. No, it starts slowly. It starts in slow steps, ladies and gentlemen. He started by saying he wanted to make the people healthier. So he weaponized the medical industry. Sound familiar? He said he wanted to improve the education of the children. And when I say he, I'm talking about Adolf Hitler. He said that with new medicine and new doctors, we're going to be the strongest people in the world. Trust me on this. These doctors care about you. They want to do what's right for you. And so the people obliged. And he gave control of the medical industry to a gentleman, or should I say a doctor, named Dr. Mengele, who performed some of the most horrible experiments on human beings. I don't even suggest that you go look at what Dr. Mengele did. Just understand, it was an atrocity. And then he started controlling speech, ladies and gentlemen. And then he started controlling weapons. That's right. For the safety and the good of the people, he controlled the weapons in his country. If you wasn't down with him, if you wasn't ride to die with Hitler, you didn't have a Mohaski. You didn't have a strap. And some of the Jewish business people who were enjoying a good life, because see, they were the middle class. They were the upper middle class. They were the wealthy. They catered to them in the fact of, oh, you don't need that stuff. That's for the ruffians. That's for the losers. You're living a more refined life. You don't need guns, do you? And so the people obliged. And they gave up their weapons. And then one day, and now this one I would suggest you do check it out. You go ahead and take a look at that one. One day, they came, and that day will forever be known as Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glass. The soldiers came with their guns, knocking on doors, and they said, if you are of the Jewish persuasion, come out of your house. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to come out of your house. And those that move too slow, those that look like they might have been feeling some kind of way about that, the ones that believe themselves to be free, the ones who believe that this was an overreach of the government into their private lives, well, they were promptly shot in the head. There was no court. There was no trial. They were promptly shot in the head. Now here we are in the United States of America. And 3 days after Elon Musk buys Twitter, our government turns around and creates the Department of Disinformation. Now, I could keep going on about that. I really could. But ladies and gentlemen, do I really need to? I believe I have one of the smartest audience in the game. Do I really need to continue on this trajectory? Do you see where we're headed? Do you see the need? Not for panic. Rush Limbaugh, God rest his soul, the great Rush Limbaugh said he would always let us know when it was time to panic. Well, he's in heaven now because he was only on loan from God for a little while. But I talked to Bo Snerdley sometimes, and I even asked Bo Snerdley, who was his producer, for those of you who know Rush Limbaugh and knew Rush Limbaugh. It's still not time to panic. It's not time to panic. But it is time to get ready. It is time to say you have gone too far. Now, we the people, still own this country. last time I checked. But I am asking this question, and maybe you can answer for me, as you always do. Chime in with your answers. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. If you're looking for me on Twitter, you'll find me at Ken White 4444. You know how to find me anywhere else. Simply type in the Southside Unicorn and everything will pop up. Go ahead and give me your opinion on this. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't it the job of the GOP, the Republicans? Shouldn't they be politically stomping the guts out of this directive? Where's our champion? Where's the person that's going to go to Joe Biden and this deranged woman? I mean, okay, you know how I do it on this show. I won't wax wane all those little clips because if you're into talk radio, if you're doing this thing, you've seen it. You've seen her little whimsical songs and the different things that she's saying. So I won't replay them on this show today because I want to use most of the time to talk to you. Would you trust this woman with a potato gun? I wouldn't trust her with a potato gun. And by the way, for the group of people who say that they believe in the woman should be believed and that sexual harassment is absolutely evil and never to be done, did you see the clip where she asked, and she meant it, who do I have to, she used the F word, who do I have to F to become rich and famous and get some power around here? She meant that, ladies and gentlemen, and they caught her on tape saying it. This is a Democrat woman. This is a leftist woman speaking like that. Well, she has power. She was elevated up to the ranks of director of the Department of Disinformation. Let's ask the logical question, ergo sum. Who did she sleep with? After all, that's out of her own mouth. We owe it to the future. I mean, when 1984 was written, the date 1984 was a long ways off. So it was safe to write futuristic books about that date, even though they were as dystopic as they could be, using dates like 1984 or 2020. Those were okay back in the day because that was, quote unquote, the future. The future is now. We're here. And if we are going to sit back and do nothing, say nothing, we are cursing our grandchildren to the worst future you could ever imagine. And as a matter of fact, you can't imagine it. You can't imagine the America we're living in right now. Did you ever, and okay, for you 20-year-olds and you 16-year-olds, I'm not really talking to you right now. Just listen, because this is your reality. This is your world. But for those of us north of 40, north of 50, north of 60, did you ever imagine an America where a person could walk into a business with a shopping cart, pick out all the stuff, and then just walk right back out, with the police watching, mind you, with the store owner, tears in their eyes, watching their product be hauled out? Did you ever imagine in the United States of America, the president of the United States would be wanting to resolve Title 42, which was designed to protect Americans from the onslaught of illegal aliens? There are so many people pouring into our nation even as we speak. They've lost count. They've thrown their hands up. They just can't cope with it anymore. They estimate that within the last year, 2 million human beings came into the United States of America. My people, America. You barely speak to your own neighbors. I bet you couldn't tell me the name of 6 of them. And yet you're comfortable with 2 million people a year coming into our country and we don't even know who they are? But yet we want to remember 9/11. We want to say that was a hallowed day and we should always remember and always remain vigilant. I want to remind you of something. That was only 18 men with a serious resolve. That was 18 men who levied that much damage and destruction and pain and death on America. 2 million people, ladies and gentlemen. Did you ever imagine you'd living in America where your own government would put young, healthy, 18-year-old to 35-year-old undocumented, violent intruders who are coming into our country? Did you ever imagine they would put them on planes and then diaspora them throughout our nation? Mississippi, Florida, Maine, Chicago. As a matter of fact, did you know at this point, and this is verifiable, you know how I do it on the Southside Unicorn Show. Go ahead, guy test number 1. Just test me. Did you know that over 2 out of every 5 males in Mississippi is an undocumented alien? Ladies and gentlemen, this is your wake-up call. This is the clarion being blasted right in your ear. That is tactically unsound. That is tactically unreasonable for any nation to do that. And as a matter of fact, no nation does it but America. You try to get into the border of Mexico without their permission. Try it. The penalty for entering Mexico from the southern part of Mexico without their permission is death. That's right. I said it. They'll bust a cap on you. They will kill you if you try to get into Mexico from the southern part of their country without their permission. Now, I use the word without their permission. Why? Because over the last year, since the absence of President Donald J. Trump, Mexico has opened its lower gates and let all manner of human beings come through. Of the few that they're able to capture, they have found Chinese, Korean, Iranian, Iraqi, Palestinian. These people are entering into our nation while our own government is telling us what we can and cannot say. I don't mean to paint this picture, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you know, if I had other stuff I could share with you, I surely would. These things are ordered upon themselves. I didn't come up with this. These are the things that are happening in our nation. When we come back from the break, because that's what time it is, you know, we got to make some chips up in here. You understand how that goes. When we come back, we're going to talk about Ketanji Jackson Brown. You know, the new Supreme Court Justice. Going to talk about that. Going to talk about old Joe Biden and what happened during the Easter celebration. Some weird stuff going on in our country, ladies and gentlemen. So when we get back from this break, that's where we'll be headed, okay? You don't want to miss that. Go nowhere.
Hey, my name is Toot Sweet, and I'm New York City's original artist, singing for the cause of freedom. I've spent the last 10 years of my life documenting history through my music. It's like a recipe that's blessing me, bringing out the best of me, aggressively testing me to create my own destiny and understanding, universally accepting adversity and learn more lessons in life than you're learning any. And when I'm in need of a dose of reality to escape the liberal land of make-believe, I tune in to the Southside Unicorn, where the truth is as solid as New York City concrete. My name is Toot Sweet, and you're listening to my friend Ken White on the Southside Unicorn, and this party is just getting started.
Hey, welcome back to the third segment of the Southside Unicorn Show. You know me, normally I like to give the shows a name. This time, I don't have a name for this show. Perhaps somewhere during the night I'll come up with a name for it and rename it. You know how I do it. I'll come back on it and I'll give it a name, but I don't know what to call this, ladies and gentlemen. I do know that Joe Biden, the man that is seated in the White House right now, I noticed I didn't say elected. Before I end up getting myself shadow banned again, let me rephrase that. Let me say this. when you get a chance, go see the movie by my friend Dinesh D'Souza. Go see the movie 2,000 Mules. The movie 2,000 Mules will explain everything that you need to know about the 2020 election, the so-called election of Joe Biden. I don't want to do a spoiler alert. There's so much in the movie. I would suggest that you go see it. There'll be a few premieres here and there. Yours truly has been invited to the red carpet, and so I'm going to be there. And check this movie out. You want to see this movie because it explains exactly how this nightmare tumbleweed that we're in right now happened. There are those who said, stop promoting the big lie. Stop promoting the big lie. The biggest lie that was ever told to America is that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. There, I said it. So what? I said it. Let's hope I stay on the air a little bit longer. Since we now have the Department of Disinformation, they'll probably be checking this show out. So, yeah. Joe Biden on Easter was walking around the White House lawn, enjoying the pleasure of children, which I don't think anybody should allow that man with 20 feet of a child. You've seen what he does when he gets close to a child. Nobody should allow that to happen to their grandchild or their child. That's some nasty stuff. But you saw him. He's out there on the lawn, enjoying the pleasure of children and having fun and all this stuff. And somebody asked him a question. He started making his way towards that person so he could answer the question or whatever it was they were asking him. And the bunny rabbit jumped up, blocked the president, waved him off, then escorted him away. Now, you can call me old-fashioned. You can call me a fuddy-duddy. But there are certain things that in the United States of America, when it came to the office of POTUS, the President of the United States of America, the Commander-in-Chief, there are certain etiquettes about that office that are never to be done. Let me point one out to you. Did you know that you could actually go to jail for blocking the path of the president? If you stood he's walking and he's headed in a particular direction. If you stand in his way and he comes to a stop, you, my friend, get to go to jail. That's right. Check it out. But the bunny rabbit, oh no, the bunny rabbit, whoever was inside that costume, got to stand in front of the president and block him. Now, I remember African Americans, Negroes, blacks, coloreds, whatever the name is today. I remember when Barack Hussein Obama was president. And some of us weren't happy about it. We had things we had to say. What was their answer to us? They said, you don't have to respect the man, but you got to respect the office. You don't have to respect Obama, that's fine, but you better respect the office. That is exactly what they said, ladies and gentlemen. And if that's true, if what's good for the goose is good for the gander, what the hell was that Obama did to Joe Biden? Twice. Now, yours truly pointed it out almost a year ago, and now everybody wants to try to, make the same comparisons. But I'm not saying nothing here. Y'all know how I get down. You've seen the show. You've listened to it. I'm light years ahead of most. Didn't I tell you that Barack Obama was basically letting the world know he still runs America? I said it last year when they were doing the memorial service for Memorial Day. Obama stood right next to Joe Biden. And when the CPAC commander offered the salute, Barack Hussein Obama took the salute with Joe Biden standing right there. How dare he do that? Remember I told you there's certain etiquettes, certain ceremonies about the office of president that you better not mess with? Well, that's one of them. He is allegedly the highest ranking person in any room that he walks into. That's why our boy President Donald J. Trump pushed the jabronis out his way when he was at the GPAC 7 or G8 meeting, and they tried to stand in front of him. You don't stand in front of the President of the United States of America upon ceremony. You don't do it. But oh no, Barack Hussein Obama gets to do it anytime he wants. He didn't do it just once. He's done it twice now. He took the salute on Memorial Day. That was an affront to Joe Biden and to the nation. You are not president anymore, Barack Hussein Obama. Or are you? Or are you? And then we see the video. Everyone's seen that video where Barack Hussein Obama goes to the White House. Why? Because his boy Joe Biden's in trouble. They claim, and you know how that goes. Okay, the media wants to tell us that Joe Biden's approval rating is at 33%. Well, these lying son of a guns, you know who they are. If they're willing to admit that he's below 33%, if they're willing to admit that, then you know it's much, much lower. More like 20. And upon that, they had to call in the big gun. Obama, you got to get in here and do something, man. The people are starting to turn against this dude. If they find out that his approval rating is below 17%, somebody going to start talking 25th Amendment. Somebody going to start talking 25th Amendment. So, voila, in appears Barack Hussein Obama, and they use the ruse of Obamacare being the anniversary. So, an anniversary of Obamacare, I guess I can go to the White House and we'll celebrate that. How in the hell are you going to celebrate that, Obamacare, when it is one of the most worst things that ever happened? It's not Obamacare. It's abomination. It literally bankrupted the middle class. There were people who literally lost their homes trying to comply with Obama's ridiculous Marxist socialist edict that we'd have to pay into that damn thing, upon which now we've found out that was illegal and unconstitutional. But I digress. They're at the White House and they're celebrating Obamacare. Okay, let's give them that nod, wink, wink. And what does Obama do? With the President of the United States of America in the same room with him, not only does he roast him, not only does he crack jokes on him, like Chris Rock did on Jada Pinkett, but there was no Will Smith to save Joe Biden. Obama clowned him. Obama talked bad about him, made jokes about him, and then went about the room as if though he was not even there. Another case of point of etiquette, ladies and gentlemen. Did you know that if the President of the United States of America is facing you and he's within 2 feet of you, you are to turn into his direction and acknowledge him? If you don't do it, it is considered a slight and an offense to America. That's right. You keep checking it, keep rolling down. Because yours truly, once upon a time, I was the honor guard, United States Air Force, Republic of the Philippines. I got to wear the nice little silver helmet and the beautiful white ascot and the nice white shiny laces and the beautiful, ceremony. So when it comes to the ceremony of official office, I kind of got that one under control. Double check my record, United States Air Force, honor guard. So there's Biden standing next to the former president of the United States of America. And Barack Hussein Obama turned his back on him. Go check the video. He turned his back on him. So for all those people out there that once used to scream, including Black Lives Matter and all you other corny jabronis, you don't have to respect him, but you got to respect the office. Why don't y'all go tell that to Barack Hussein Obama and have him write a formal apology to the people of the United States of America for disrespecting the office of president as well as he did it. Ladies and gentlemen, you take all these things that I'm sharing with you and put them back in proper perspective, and you'll see while the light of day still remains, and there's not much daylight left, we have some work to do. We have some coming together to do. We have some, that's all I can stand because I can't stand no more to do. Am I speaking insurrection? No. That's the trick of the wicked. That's the trick of the evil. If you fight for your life against a purse snatcher and you end up hurting that purse snatcher, well, you're going to be paying his medical bills in this new America. If a burglar comes into your home and that burglar ends up tripping on your child's roller skate, he's going to sue the hell out of you. That's the America that these jabronis have put us in. So, ergo sum, if a man or a woman wants to stand up for their freedoms, if a man or a woman wants to stand up for their rights, if a man or a woman wants to go to Washington, D.C. and air out their grievances against their nation, which is their right, well, my friend, you're an insurrectionist. You have committed a crime against the government. You're lower than dirt because you dare to be free. It's time to accept where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Because if we do not accept where we are, it won't be long before someone like Joe Biden, or hell, even Joe Biden, it's moving that fast. You see how fast this is going. It will not be long before somebody makes the Department of Anti-Americanism. Now, imagine what that department would look like. Imagine what the job of that department would be. Can you imagine Joe Biden coming out and saying, there's so much going on, these darn Republicans and Donald J. Trump. We have to make a department to ensure our democracy. We have to make sure that our democracy isn't destroyed. So we're creating the Department of Americanism. Tell me I just said something crazy, y'all. Tell me I just said something that's not possible. Oh, it's very possible, and you know it. So, like I said, while the light of day still shines upon this nation, we got some work to do. Speaking of got some work to do, I got a little bit more work to do with you all, but after these station breaks. So, sit tight. When we come back, we're going to get into Ketanji Jackson Brown and some stuff like that, because I said something in some shows earlier that I want to capitalize on and bring it all back together. You're going to get a kick out of this. So stay where you are and go nowhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's Joy Villa, and I'm reminding you to tune in to the Southside Unicorn Show, hosted by my friend Ken White.
Do just what you want. You're the one I trust. I belong to you.
Hey, it's your boy Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are back for the fourth and last segment of the show. Can you believe how fast this show goes? It just flies by, ladies and gentlemen. I have such a great time being here with you all, and thank you for being here. Now, I don't do all that happy joy stuff all the time, so, please forgive me, brother. I'm trying not to be too dystopic now, but again, I'm simply painting with the colors that are put on my brush. I didn't make this. You didn't make this. But this is where we are. We're living in a country where the American citizen is made to pay taxes upon taxes upon taxes. You wake up in the morning and you're taxed. You go and buy something at the store and you're taxed. You put gas in your car and you're taxed. You pay taxes on your taxes because when you go into the store that you just bought that from, even he has to pay taxes on the stuff that you bought. You try to give yourself a nice medical program, with a doctor that they used to have the little leather bag and they come to your house. Not no more. Not no more. You can't even provide that for your family without going broke. You can't run your business because if you're running a business, it's taxed beyond belief. It's overregulated. with regulations that you know, as the person who created that business, are totally unnecessary. But it gives the government the right to stick their nose in your business. No pun intended. So, 2 weeks ago, we had to endure the mockery of our nation as they allegedly held the advice and consent hearing for Judge Ketanji Brown, or Ketanji Jackson Brown, or running on empty. I don't know. I'm telling you, I really don't care about this woman's name. I have zero respect for her. Straight up. There she sits with this snarky, arrogant look on her face, and the Democrats running block at every possible chance for the American people to get a look at her candor, her character, and her qualifications, basically. That's what the advice and consent process is about. Well, there she sits. And after hearing 4 questions, I heard 4 questions put to this woman. And her answers to those 4 questions convinced me of what I'm about to say with you now. Ketanji Jackson Brown. Ketanji Brown Jackson, whatever her name is, had no business and has no business being on the Supreme Court of the United States of America. She is totally unqualified for that position. Oh no, not because of her academia. Her academia, bar none, pretty good stuff when you consider the way education goes these days. But when you ask an Ivy League educated person to give you the definition of a woman, and they can't do it, don't trust them with a potato gun. If you ask an Ivy League educated, experienced judge, when does life begin? When do we have an obligation to protect life? And she can't answer that question, and you're going to let her sit in the Supreme Court. When you ask an Ivy League educated woman why she apologized to a pedophile and then went out of her way to reduce his sentence, and ladies and gentlemen, you know me, I try to give you the truth on everything. I give you the truth on everything. I can't even discuss this man's case on the air. If I discussed his case on the air, I would have to mark this show explicit, R-rated, and perhaps even X-rated. And Judge Ketanji Brown followed his case. She followed his case. And when it came time to act on his case, she reduced his sentence so low, he is back on the streets today. When you ask a woman, a black woman, about abortion, and she can't answer that question, ladies and gentlemen, let me throw this factoid out there in front of her reluctance to answer the question about abortion. More black children are aborted in New York State than are born. Let me say that again. I think I want to say that one again. More children of color are aborted in New York State than are born. And Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown Jackson, oh, she ain't got no opinion on that. I can't tell you how scary, how icy cold that was to me as a young black man who was born and raised on the south side of Chicago to a single black mom. You got Cory Booker sitting there whining and crying. Oh, you look like my auntie. You look like my mama. You could be my sister. It's a great day. Man, let me tell you what. When I looked at Ketanji Jackson Brown and she refused to answer the question about abortion, she didn't answer the question right about pedophilia. She's letting pedophiles out. She's doing all kind of crazy stuff. I'm looking at her, and then I look at my mama's picture, and I am so grateful to the Lord God that I had the mother that I had, and that my mama didn't look like Ketanji Jackson Brown. Where would I be? What would have happened to me Ketanji Jackson Brown. The black community has been a part of America for over 427 years. And still we haven't capped past 13% of this nation. That's not by accident, ladies and gentlemen. That's by design. And now you have a justice who seems to think that abortion on demand is something that should be done. Hey, if you want to get into the deep ballistics of it all today, every nation, including Japan, actually Europe and Japan are suffering from this worse than we are, I do believe. I believe they are now birthing 1.2 children. That's their birth rate, 1.2 children. Do you know that with a birth rate like that, your nation won't last 30 years beyond that point? If you're not procreating, if you're not making enough new people, you got a problem. Perhaps that's why the left, the woke, the Democrat, the socialist Democrats, perhaps that's why they see no problem allowing 2 million undocumented aliens into our country every year. They're trying to replenish their stock. Those who will subscribe to what they believe in. I wasn't talking about them. I'm talking about us, Americans, patriots, God-fearing people. We're not producing enough. And now you just put a woman in the Supreme Court that's going to almost ensure that Roe v. Wade kind of hangs around a little bit more. Now, my hat's off to all the different individual states that are starting to make their own rulings about abortion, which, after all, is where this should have remained in the first place. The decision about abortions is a state-level issue, always was. In fact, there's a rule about the Supreme Court that maybe you don't know about it. I'm going to share it with you now. Did you know that if the plaintiff of an action that was heard by the Supreme Court later recants or wishes to see that law removed, do you know that it is supposed to be removed? Do you know that the woman that caused Roe v. Wade to even be in existence has lamented with her heart and soul that she's sorry that she helped to cause this to be? She wants it closed down. And yet now, those on the left, the woke, the ones who keep claiming that they're the fairest of them all, they're not going to end it. They're fighting for it tooth and nail. And yet, in the black community, as I said, the abortion rate has reached levels of Holocaust. And a black woman, allegedly black woman, was just installed into the Supreme Court who was cold and indifferent to that. We got a lot of work ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. And you're up to the challenge. I met some young Republicans at the California GOP convention that filled my chest with fresh air, filled me with hope and belief. We sat there that evening and we talked. And young men, you said you were going to listen to the show, so I know you're listening to it because you're men of your word. Thank you for that evening. Thank you for the conversation. I'm going to go ahead and use that video that we did, and I'm going to show it to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and post it. Normally, I just, I keep some videos for myself, for my own personal, library. But I'm going to air you guys video to America so that we can see America stands a chance. There's a chance that we just might make it. These young men asked me a question. They said, hey, okay, we're here for the fight. You can see we're young Republicans, and they were all strong, clean, Okay, watch this. I'm going to use Joe Biden's words that he used on Obama. They were well-spoken. They were clean, and they had nice creases in their pants. That's right. Joe Biden said that about Obama, so I guess I can say it about these young Republicans, right? There they were, eager and ready, set, go. And I told them, I said, look, I've been a Republican for 47 years. What we are up against, we have to accept is a generational war This is a generational thing. You young men are 20 this and 20 that. And I told them, what we're fighting for, you may not eat the fruit of it in your lifetime. Or you may be as old as I am before you begin to see some good color come from your work. But we still have to dedicate ourselves to that. Whoever, whatever, came into our nation in the 1950s and began an insipid, disgusting plan to tear down America, well, they had 70 years, roughly, give or take, to do what they've done to this nation. We're not going to fix it with one election. We're not going to fix it with one president, even if that president is the two-time elected President Donald J. Trump. It's not going to happen. This is going to be a daily war. This is going to be fought in the school boards. This is going to be fought in your own homes. This is going to be fought in the streets of America, not with violence, but by speaking the truth, by taking our young people back, by cleansing their minds of the programming that has ruined beautiful crops. And I call them crops because that's what it is. You know, the greatest resource a nation can have is its young people. Look at the condition our young people are in. If we allow this to persist, ladies and gentlemen, where do you think it's going to lead? So I call upon you that, I almost forgot. I had the honor of appearing with the great Ed Hoffman on the Main Event radio show. You can find that on KTIE 590 AM, or should I say AM 590, The Answer. You'll find me on that show this weekend. I think it's going to air a few times. You should take a listen to that. It was a really, really good show. And as I was saying to Mr. Hoffman, I said, sir, we have to stop just regurgitating the daily news. 2 seconds after AOC opens her mouth, all the talking heads, everybody who wants some clicks and likes and all of that, they are responding to that. They got their own little personal diatribe about what AOC said in response to Elon Musk cracking a joke. All that stuff's nice, and it has its place. But America did not make the progressions that she made without somebody standing on the town square and opening their mouth. We need to start talking about the efficacious, energizing things that are going to make all Americans come together, whether it be in the park, whether it be at a concert, whatever, and have a mindset of, I agree with you. I agree that the freedom of speech is important and should not be messed with. I agree that the Second Amendment has its place. I agree that we need to do something about the Holocaust of black abortions in the inner cities. We need more black people. Who's going to say that? These are the things we need to be talking about. I'll give you a nickel if you show me a clip of Whoopi Goldberg on The View talking about preserving black life. I'd like to see that video. I'd like to see that clip. I will give you an extra nickel if you could show me a video of Joy Reid telling the truth about Black Lives Matter and their principal leaders, most of whom are under indictment for embezzlement. You won't see that clip. So yours truly, Ken White, a.k.a. the Southside Unicorn, here I is, opening my mouth, speaking truth to you. These are the things we need to be pondering, ladies and gentlemen. These are the things we need to be discussing, because this is where the battle is. I wish Elon Musk good luck on assuming Twitter. I sent a tweet to him last month. People are in astonishment about it. They're like, did you know that? I'm like, man, come on, please. I'm the Southside Unicorn. I sent him a tweet last month and said, should you be successful in buying Twitter, please make sure that you don't end up buying a pig in a poke, meaning that they're going to gut it and make it worthless and a shadow of what it used to be. Wow, the time has gone by so quick, ladies and gentlemen. I could spend all day with you if you let me. So listen to me. There's no place I'd rather be. There's nothing more I'd rather do than being right here doing this show for you. This is Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are